nice and moist.
Well, anyway, we're back again on another Whiskey Rebellion barcast that's going on here. Now, a question for you. Just because we got the video on over there, how's that doing us any good over here?
It's not.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was clarifying that. Anyhow, you could send that to me though, and I could add it into the video. But hey guys, this is Jody. This is our shenanigans crew. This is Mark over here. He's hanging with me tonight. And he's doing some kind of stuff over there. That's what I was getting sidetracked on. But hey guys, we got an interesting show tonight that I'm super excited about. But before we get started with that, Hercules. Hey,
Hercules.
Yeah, we got the Godfather, Chuck. He sent me a special bottle today of the Presidential Drum, and he wanted my flavor profile on it, what I thought of it, and so I made sure I had a clean palate for this, and so we're going to do that. But when we say cheers to everybody, I want to hear what everybody's drinking. So cheers.
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 Obviously, Mark, if somebody's loud is everything. There's Billy. He's coming into the show. He apparently doesn't know the difference between Eastern Standard Time. So we Central Standard Time and Eastern Standard Time. So we got him here now. So we're good to go. Is he calling from a really dark place?
Going
No,
from his
I'm
phone.
actually, no, I'm on my iPad.
He's in a dark place.
Are you in a closet? Can you blink
No.
twice if you're okay?
Laugh if you're
No.
surrounded by spring breakers.
No.
God
I'm not
bless
dealing
you.
with that. I'm actually at a restaurant where my barbecue sauce is debuting tonight. So
Oh, nice.
broadcasting
Oh, nice, man.
from
Congratulations.
Congrats.
yeah.
Congrats,
So
Billy.
thank you. How's everybody doing?
We're doing well.
Oh, good.
Do you have any drinks tonight, or are you just
No, strictly water because I'm driving. Gotta be responsible.
Be responsible. We talked about that on the last show. Everybody has to be responsible all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey,
Absolutely. How's everybody doing?
we're all doing well. We're just getting ready to get to the drinks. By the way, I want to do the flavor profile on this Presidential Drum. When you smell it, it has a lot of fruits to it. Maybe a little bit of charred oak, but the taste on it is more of initial cinnamon with a little bit of vanilla. Actually, a lot of cinnamon.
I got a lot of cinnamon.
Yeah, it's a lot of cinnamon. And then maybe some type of, I don't know, dried fruit, like a raisin or plum or something like that is what I get towards the end. But it's freaking solid. I like it. And I appreciate the Godfather, AKA Chuck, sending that to me. So thank you very much, Chuck. I know he watches every single episode. So very appreciative of that. We are going to talk about something very interesting tonight, the history of the Whiskey Rebellion. And then, which I know Mark has been researching because I can see it next to me and the whole time. He's like, dude, I'm so ready for this. Like I researched it. I watched some videos. I read some books. I'm like, I just told you this yesterday. But anyway, and then of course I know Jeff is all about it because he's like, we're going to talk about the law, like all the single aspects of it. And we're going to, if we had any viewers, they're going to go immediately right after that. But before we do all that, let's find out what everybody's drinking. Mal, what are you having up there in the great country of England? And by the way, you can still have your girlfriend back, Meghan Markle. She can come back at any point. We'd prefer her to be over there.
You know what it is? I'm going to say thank you, but no. It's quite all right. It's quite all right. Not a problem.
Can you take her
So-
better half back?
I can't comment. Anyway, I am drinking. I'm drinking.
Police and those big fluffy hats come in after you, right?
I'm
Yeah,
saying nothing.
he'll get Clinton. We don't want that to happen.
I am drinking
Lord.
Basil Hayden, which is my choice for tonight because it's late as balls and I've got to get up for work in the morning. So I just went for a nice, easy wheater, low proof, 80%. it's just it's a go-to weeder. Again, as I said last week about the larceny, it's one of those that it's not exactly the same as Maker's Mark, but if you want something just a little on the wheaty side, then it's a good alternative.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's me.
All right, Jack, what you got up there, man?
So, opened this up last week, the green spot for St. Patty's Day.
I really like the green spot.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's really easy to drink. I mean, it's only 80 proof. It seems like all the stuff from that portion of the world is only 80 proof. But it's, it's got a smell and it's got a taste. It does some tearing on the glass. It doesn't, it's not bad. No, it's really good, actually. I came back to it because I had it last week, so I'm having it again tonight. No, it's actually pretty good. There's not a lot of cinnamon or spice towards the end of it. Doesn't kind of really linger around on your tongue, and it doesn't really kind of clean out your nose like a wasabi does. It's actually really good, honestly. I really like it.
Nice.
There you go. That's what I got.
Hey, Rob, what about you and what's in Old Shitty tonight?
Well, Old Shitty's unpacked because I'm in a temporary apartment now here in Ohio. So Old Shitty's unpacked, but the shelf I got a little bar shelf here. I've moved the 70 bottles down to about 8 bottles here at the apartment. I've got tonight. I'm enjoying the Redwood Empire Emerald Giant Rye. Very tasty stuff. It's got a little toffee. It's got a little citrus on the nose. I kind of like that. Definitely picking up vanilla, getting that little bit of rye spice and oak when I'm drinking it. And it's got a really good citrus oak finish going to it. So kind of enjoying that. But I've got the Redwood Empire, the bourbon, the red label bourbon on the shelf. I've got Maker's Mark of Virginia Barrel Private Select called Smooth and Savory. I haven't opened yet. Actually picked up in PA. I just happened to walk into my local store. The Thomas S. Moore bourbon. Picked one of those up off the shelf. I brought that with me. Oh, I don't even know what else I have in there. So,
which Thomas Moore did you get?
I don't know. To be honest, whatever one PA got.
I guess he'll be back. Anyway.
It's the extended cask finish Cabernet.
I wonder if that
The cab, okay,
that would be
gotcha.
an interesting flavor as a Cabernet finish. So that sounds fascinating.
That'd be a good show topic one time. Just talk
We've done
about,
that.
Have you?
Yeah, we've done that. But we can always revisit it because having different people on and having different flavor profiles would come out there. And it would just be neat to talk about and discuss what we like, what we don't like. I'm not a big porter person when it comes to like the finishes on the port barrels, but like I love sherry cask and
those are good.
which are fantastic. But hey, Jonathan, welcome to the show, man. What are you having tonight?
Cheers, guys. Well, God rained down manna in Middle Tennessee, and I stumbled across some Smoke Wagon small batch out here in Fairview. So I was actually going to pick up Rob's bottle of Lieber's Fork and saw this thing, and I just grabbed it. It's like, I'll probably never see this again, or at least for a few more months.
I'll
So
cut you.
What's that?
I'm just saying, you'd be like, I'll cut you.
Well, last time I saw it there, I asked about it, and they're like, he's coming to pick it up in about an hour. It's like, okay. All right.
You're like, was it Thomas?
I think that's why I asked Jay that day that I think it was the day of the show because I asked Jay, I was like, I think Thomas is coming to Fairview and picking up that bottle. But no, I mean, this is really good. I want to do a side by side of the other bottle I have just to compare the difference, but you could tell this is definitely a high rye. You kind of get the spice all the way through from the nose to the finish. Kind of heavy on the cinnamon, but I think on the palate, you get some of that heavy cinnamon on the front end, but then it like smooths out and it almost comes across as very light. And so it's got a great finish on it. So I'm enjoying it.
Is that the green? Is that the green label? The green badge on the small batch?
Gold, I think.
Yeah,
It's gold. It's gold. Yeah.
I've got a small batch here, and it's green. Interesting.
I wonder if has anything to do with the European connection of it. But anyway, moving on. Jay, welcome to the show again, brother. That is green. That is definitely green.
I haven't seen that one.
I had neither.
I've not seen that one.
Neither.
Very
Empty
interesting.
that bottle and send it here so I can put it on my shelf and fill it up
It's
with
your
whatever.
St. Patty's bottle. It's actually the spirit is green too.
Pour some out, Val. Let's see if it's
beer,
green.
green whiskey.
No, it's not.
Is it green? Is it green?
No, it's not.
Is it green?
No, but it's moist.
But it's
Oh
moist.
no.
I'm gonna
He's,
I'm
he's
gonna-
entertaining
Boy,
himself at this
gentlemen.
point.
Moist.
That's much better.
Anyway,
well,
let's
depends
let's
on your
get
view
we
of
got a lot to
better.
talk about tonight. So let's get back to Jay. What are you having, Jay?
Have the Jefferson's Grand Selection. Just you said it was about Whiskey Rebellion, so here's Jefferson's French oak. The French oak cask finish. It's very grapey. Very grapey.
It's like a border.
Nice. Well, thank you for gracing us with your presence tonight, Jay. We all love you, and if not from everybody, mostly me. Marky Mark, what you having, dude?
What's up, my brother? Sorry, I'm on mute. Kill the background noise. I am having a nub
Yes.
Cameroon leaf.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
this is Jack Daniels, single barrel, the black label. Not bad, not bad. I actually have one at home. I haven't opened. I just picked it up last week. It's a store pick from a boutique grocery store here. So I'm good. And I'm not hungry right now. So I just ate a sandwich. I had a sandwich. No
Where are you?
beef, just
Are you in
a
Arizona
sandwich.
right now? Are you?
I-
Damn it.
I'm in Arizona right now. Soon to be going to White City, Oregon.
White City, Oregon.
That sounds
Gotcha.
scary.
It really does for me. That's all right though.
No,
You'll be
very-
fine. Just go to Chad.
My girlfriend, whose initials are APX, will be going with me.
Okay. Well, Jeff.
Drive slow.
Save us.
Evening. Well, in honor of our topic, I decided to go old school, and I'm doing rye whiskey this evening.
That is the topic
Washington,
tonight.
That is
George
the topic.
Washington.
I'm starting out with one of my favorite ryes from a small distillery in Lexington called Town Branch. Same company that does the Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ales, if anybody's tried them. So they're producing the same facility. Phenomenal distillery. It's beautiful. Then follow up with a Willet rye. And I also have a bottle of what they call the Baby Saz.
So you're doing all rise tonight.
I'm doing all right. I mean, going with the topic, gotta, kick it with my homies.
That's the reason why I started with the presidential, and you'll know why when we talk about it here shortly.
Right.
So, and we know Billy's not drinking. Corey, I think you said you were at a facility and could not drink. Is that correct?
That's correct. I actually just left. I'm headed home right now.
Cool.
Well,
cool.
Then you can drink.
I will
Yeah,
say this,
then I
guys,
can.
Let me give a special shout out to Chuck because I did receive today the Elijah Craig Toasted, which I did get a chance to take a quick sample of. It is absolutely fantastic. And Chuck is such the guy, the godfather, like you say. He actually sent me the sample pack of Whistle Pig. So I will be definitely enjoying that this weekend for sure.
You know what's funny is I was talking about Chuck in the pre-show. No one knows what he looks like, like at all. We've never heard him speak. He's never been on the show, so he's like truly the Godfather. That's the reason why I named him that. I was like, he's a Godfather. Like no one.
We need
No
to
one-
change his name in the thing as the Godfather for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Because speaking of which, somebody put me down as Doc Bourbon. I didn't even know that occurred. You know, but yes, we do definitely need to change his name.
That was me when you got your doctorate, dude.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That was very fancy of you. All right. So, Jeff, would you like to lead the discussion on the history of it? Would you like to start there?
Did
Well-
Jack tell us that he's drinking yet?
Yeah, Jack told us. Remember, he
I
did the whole
started-
face, the moist,
yeah.
and all that stuff. We don't want to revisit that.
Oh, that's no.
I do.
Sure,
I
I mean,
know
I could do it real quick here. Caught me off guard, though.
Yeah,
That
Well,
threw me
you know,
off.
actually, you know what? I do want to, before you start, I do want to have Mark say what he thought of the presidential, because he also tried it, and I want to see what kind of notes he had.
Which
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
My
which Mark?
this Mark.
Oh, okay. Because I haven't opened mine yet. Not till I plan on opening tonight, but I'm here. So
By the way, it's
Tomorrow.
fantastic. It's fantastic. But go ahead.
Well, it's a pleasure meeting a fellow Mark. So it's a pleasure to know you, brother. So I've never tried this before. I don't know if you tried it before.
Never
It's
tried it.
brand new to you too.
Brand
Yeah. I think initially I tasted a lot of the same thing that you did on the front end, the cinnamony kind of a flavor. And for being a 113 proof,
It's pretty smooth.
really smooth.
Yeah, I agree.
So I was trying to think of a comparable bourbon that I've tasted before that was like this.
Well, you've had a lot here.
I
so,
have.
yeah.
I was trying to think of some of the ones that we've shared. There's a bourbon that's one of my go-tos here. It's a pretty easy store pick. It's Clayton James. They make it just down the road a little bit in Linville. This feels like a really refined version of that. That's what it tastes like to me. A lot of the same notes there.
And it's funny you say that, because I can find, as well as you, I can find a comparison to it. To me, it has a lot of the same notes that I find in Stag Junior. Has that initial bite followed by vanilla, and then some type of dried fruit at the end. And then what's different is the not cinnamon, I'm sorry, the citrus-like or the fruity smell that it has that
Right.
would almost make you think it's a young whiskey, but it's a 4-year. I mean, it's a 4-year, presidential barrel proof, straight bourbon whiskey, and it's, with the EY. So it's good
Do you
stuff.
get any like baking spices or anything like that at all?
I have a hard,
I was
I have a
gonna
hard
say
time
there's
with
a
the
little bit
baking.
of a nutmeggy thingy in
Ah,
there.
nutmeg.
That's-
You know what?
that's
That
I
may
was
be.
thinking. Yep.
I
See,
haven't
I-
tried that, but I've got a Stag Junior, and I've got a similar bacon spice, cinnamon nutmeg kind of.
So I
It's
don't
like
get, I don't
sweeter
get
than
the,
that.
yeah, I was going to say, I don't get a nutmeg. I get more of a hazelnut.
On the
Hmm.
back, if
Yeah.
you breathe through it
Yeah.
on the back, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's like more of a hazelnut.
I literally had a chocolate and hazelnut bar from Aldi's last night, the entire thing. I'm not gonna lie. I ate the entire thing. And that's exactly the taste.
Yeah, it's-
Hazelnut
Yeah.
almost could be an almond, but it's more hazelnut.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry to cut out on you, but my
No worries.
presence is required. I gotta go get famous.
Right.
I hope you guys have a good show, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right,
Hey,
tell
get
your
that
You
money.
do you.
Do
Very good,
work,
well done.
Billy. Do work.
Yeah.
Lord, he's an animal now. So Jeff, let's go ahead and let's talk about our subject for the evening, because we have two of them. And the first one is, I don't think that you can ever discuss where we are today without discussing first the history of the Whiskey Rebellion.
Yep.
So let's
No,
go
you
there.
can't. I mean, it's basically Americans' forgotten Civil War, and it came about basically as a direct result of the birth of the nation. America had just gone through its fight for independence, and that was at the core and the heart of many people back then, was that fierce independent spirit. But America's fight wasn't cheap. And so one of the problems they had was financing the war, and there were individuals that stepped up and basically invested in America as a literal investment. They expected to be paid back. So that was the core of what was going on. Is the first attempt, the Confederation of States, kind of failed because it didn't have enough teeth. The federal government couldn't do anything. So if the states didn't want it to happen, they couldn't do anything. So through the adoption of the new Constitution, it's a little bit more strength, but they still had the issues of how do they fund the government? How do they pay back the debts? And so Alexander Hamilton came up with the idea of taxing what he and many others viewed as more of an extra, something people didn't really have. So, kind of like people do now. It's like, well, we're not going to tax the food, so we'll tax the stuff they sin on. Spirits being the big one back then. So he came up with the whiskey tax.
Well, and see, there's a very interesting correlation or aspect that comes to that with why the whiskey or the rye in this aspect was so pertinent to those people in Pennsylvania. They couldn't transport it because of they couldn't transport their farming, because it would not be brought to service because it would spoil by the time they get there. So that's the reason why they started making the whiskey and using that as their bartering aspect to it. So continue.
It was a little bit more than that too, because it also had to do with if they had a really great crop, they couldn't use it fast enough, it would go bad. They had storage and stuff. So yes, distilling was a major part of turning that abundance into something that would last. So, and that's where we can get into more of the details, the finer points after the overall. So the overall thing is, this whiskey tax was passed, and it was created in a way that it favored the distillers that were closer to not Washington, didn't exist back then, but Philadelphia was the capital. And if you were closer to Philadelphia or in the bigger cities, you could pay the tax as you distilled the spirits. And if you were a bigger distillery, that worked for you. But the Wild West of America at that time was actually Pittsburgh and just beyond. So way out there, they didn't have people there to check the stills all the time. So they came up with this idea. It's like, well, we're going to figure out how much spirits your still could make in a year. And then we're just going to charge you based upon a formula we think that you will make. And then we're going to say you owe that. Well, they based it upon them distilling most of the year. But in the reality, most of these farm distilleries distilled for 2 weeks, maybe a month, a year, and the rest of the time they still sat there idle. So they felt it wasn't fair. They felt they were being taken care of. And again, take this into context that most of these people had just fought a war against a bigger organized government that was taxing them, but not giving them representation. So here these farmers are feeling, we've been told we're going to be doing this. These guys are not any better than the people we just kicked out of America. And so they started rebelling. And that's the big overview of what was going on. I'll talk about the minute parts now.
the fun aspects of it. I want to talk about the fun. I mean, think about the grandioseness type of aspects to it. Like, for one, by the way, Marcus is moving over to Rock Hill Farms. I'm still with the presidential drum, which is I'm going to talk about here shortly, but that goes along with this story. But like, they tarred and feathered tax people. Like, that literally happened. All right. And think about that today. Like, in a perfect world, can you think of, I don't know, maybe 6 people you'd want to tar and feather. You
Oh,
know,
it's way more than that. It's way more than that.
Mark says there's a few. He's got a handful.
Hercules. But you know, like that is such a great idea. Like, why don't we have that American spirit anymore? Like, that is so much fun. Like,
Well,
No.
the funny thing is they thought they were doing it because it was a humane thing to do to show their displeasure.
No, they did not know.
well, they may have articulated that in court. There were 7 of them that was charged with treason
Yeah.
and being traitors
Right.
to the Republic. So that may have been what their fancy lawyers might have used as.
Well, but it was like to
it was
them,
good
it's
times.
like,
we were just having fun.
we
We're
weren't
doing
beating
funsies.
them. We weren't beating them to death. We weren't, ripping things off. We put some tar and feathers on them. They can eventually clean it up. That was the concept behind it. It was to them more humane than more drastic measures of beating people or of other more drastic things than that.
So the aspect of the aspect of the presidential, the reason why I chose this tonight, not just because I was just going to post a picture of it in the VIP when the Godfather sent it to me, but the reason why I found this to be pertinent for tonight is because the last president and the only president to ride into confrontation with a militia of 11,000, I think it was 11,000 members of the federal army was George Washington.
Mhm.
He was the last president to do that. And I find that to be symbolic. I find it to be interesting. I would have obviously supported, as I'm sure all of us would have, the Whiskey Rebellion's perspective, because the tax, in my opinion, was a little bit levied more so on certain people rather than other people.
It absolutely was.
Which is very similar to today. Now, what I want to talk about how the correlation is today is that there's a lot of barriers that are put up into the world, definitely of bourbon. And then when you add COVID into it, and then depending on which state you're in, the restrictions that come into play and this, that, and whatever.
And which country you're in.
And which country, I didn't even think about that, which country you're in. Definitely as an Englishman who, as we talked about last show, who is not really into the scotches. And I mean, you drink them, but you're not really into the scotches or the Irish whiskeys and stuff like that. You
I have a preference.
Yeah, your preference is bourbon, and you're not going to get bourbon from any place else in the world than the United States.
Yeah.
So, and I would argue Kentucky, but that's just me. So just my opinion. So moving on past that.
So Jody, there's another show. How you can actually have bourbon outside of America that's not made in America. There's another show.
Okay. Anyway, so when you make this correlation and you start to look at it and you're like, first of all, how did we come up with our name, the Whiskey Rebellion? Did it just because I have an awesome flag that I happened to find? And I sent all the way to, I was going to say that I sent all the way to England.
Mhm.
And Mal has it. Yeah, Mal has it in his bar. I have my bar as well over there. It's next to the flag that says "Don't tread on me." So
That's where I was born.
yeah,
Mine's next to the Union Jack. So make of that what you will.
yeah. So tread on me.
Things were far more civilized in 1775. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, carry on.
That's funny.
Carry
That's the
on.
last year I cared about England.
Ooh.
Wow.
We don't need
Meghan
to.
Markle came around, right?
Except for me.
Let's not get political, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know if that's political. I don't know how that is. But
Well,
anyway,
it's not.
but anyway,
Yeah, let's not.
Jay's like, this is gonna be the last show. But anyway, by the way, this is episode 99, and yesterday was our 1 year anniversary. But I want to go back to why I think this is relevant. The Whiskey Rebellion today, this group, I think, kind of defines or breaks a lot of those barriers that have been put in place. Like, it's normal for everyday people to have drinks at bars, this, that, and whatever, but it's not always the safest. You can turn on the radio at any time. You hear about, don't drink and drive, know your limits, this, that, and whatever. And then, of course, you know that you're going to pay for alcohol at a bar at a stipend. It's going to be much higher. and you're probably not going to have the premium stuff unless you go to certain places. You're not going to have the premium choices that you would have from your own bar, from your friend's bar, or whatever it might be, which I'll revisit here in a second. The other thing that is that the allocations are put out there for certain areas and certain stores, and then you also have state-run allocated supply, and then you have unstate allocated supply and the cost differences, and then you have these secondary, and you have all these other different aspects that would go into play. So the reason why I wanted this topic tonight is because we kind of define and break all of those boundaries, quite honestly, in every aspect. One, we're connecting in a bar like Atmosphere amongst friends. We have some crazy topics. We have Jack. I mean, there you go. That's it. I don't have to go any further than that. But we just do. And there's my point. You see what I'm saying? And
who let John get some new tech equipment to play with?
he let himself. He's an engineer. This is what he does. That's the reason why clear ice is such a big deal to him. He's like, oh my God, my little pickaxe. I can sit here and just make it a perfect square and it's perfectly clear. But then you have then you also have the aspect of, we have built relationships amongst one another and amongst our networking, external networking, to where we get bottles sent to us and we share our expressions, and we're not getting stuck with some of these secondary pricing. And like Corey and I met this week for the first time. He wanted a bottle of Weller 12 year, and I happen to have multiple bottles of that. So I was like, hey, I'll hook you up, bro. And he had something I didn't have, which was Midnight Winter Drum.
Midwinter Night's Dram.
Yeah, thank you. Midwinter Night's Drum. Yeah, which I hadn't had.
Drum.
And I was looking for it during Christmas time because I had heard that it's more of a Christmas type spirit.
Yes.
Like you can pick up a lot of the notes that you would expect during that time. I don't know if Jay would agree with that. But anyway, I was like, that's a fair deal to me. You want that? I want this. And on top of that, then I brought him also, and Corey can attest this. He was like, he really is in search of Stag. I totally get it. Stag is close to life changing as Eagle Rare 17 2020.
Stag Senior.
Yeah, Stag Senior. And so I brought him a sample, and he was interested in potentially purchasing my 19, but I didn't want to sell it. I'd rather trade, which is something that me and Jay have talked about ad nauseum. My preference is to trade people. I'd rather, but that goes along with this whole Whiskey Rebellion aspect. Like, we're not doing things like the secondary. We're not doing things like we're finding barriers, or not barriers. We're identifying the barriers and then finding ways to mitigate some of those barriers.
We are a non-profit organization.
We are a nonprofit organization for sure, but we don't have a 501c. So if you want to donate, just put Jody in your Venmo, spell my last name correctly, and we'll move on. All right. But anyway, so yeah, that's the reason why. So I want to discuss that with you guys. I mean, because it's not just been whiskey or bourbon, but it's also been like Marky Mark had sent me some rum as well. Like, and I haven't tried it yet, but I'm sure it's fantastic. I had made a comment on one of the shows that I was running low on Eagle Rare. I literally have 7+ bottles of Eagle Rare now, and one of them's a store pick. Like, I went from I had 1 to 7 overnight.
Yeah.
We'll see if he has 6 by the end of the season.
Well, this one's almost
your mission, Marcus, should you choose to accept it.
Hey, I can come and help with that. I'm very helpful. I'm very helpful with Eagle Rare.
You got to finish that bottle before it explodes.
Mark, did you hurt your leg? Or you got a bum leg? You're limping there. What's going on?
Jody shot me.
He's got 2 bottles of Eagle Rare down his pants leg.
Hey, I'm very helpful with Eagle Rare.
But no, back to our topic here. But do you guys not agree that it's kind of like a modern day, using the aspect of
Absolutely.
technology to circumvent or mitigate some of the restrictions that are placed, whether it's state, local, federal levels, but also some of the COVID restrictions and stuff like that. So we can have that interaction, social interaction, but the networking that I think that's needed for any bourbon society.
Absolutely.
When are we going to start the tar and feathering? That's what I wanted.
Well, when we do start,
Hush, Jeff.
we may start with Jay.
You can try.
Try. I like how you said that. That was sexy. But no, I want to hear
I'm
from
gonna
other.
switch.
I want to hear from other people though, other than myself and Mao. Jay, what do you think? Do you think this is advantageous approach to that would make a comparison in your opinion?
I mean, I totally see where you're going with it. I mean, I understand what it means to you. I don't feel as restricted, I guess, as a lot of people. I have a lot of contacts. I pretty much get whatever I want. So I'm very lucky. And if I don't get something that I want, I don't feel bad about it. You know, I have zero FOMO.
Let me ask you, can I ask you a follow-up question to that? Like,
Sure.
how many years did it take for you to have all the contacts and references that you have?
About 5
Okay.
years.
This has been the best season of my life this year. 1 year of season. I mean, no, I've had many seasons, but I'm talking about this has been the best season. All right. I went from no Rock Hill Farms to 3. I went from no George C. Stagg seniors to 2. I went from no juniors to 3, to Blanton's to 2 cases, to 2 bottles. I have 2 bottles of straight from the barrel, 1 bottle of gold. All these things people are looking for all the time, all from this group. 1 year.
But that brings up a good point.
Can I just say before? Sorry to cut you off, Jay. Can I just say I didn't know seasons existed until this group.
Yeah, that's fair
And
too.
I had 2 bottles in my little bar here when we first started this a year ago. And Jody, dude, happy anniversary. I had 2 bottles in my little bar here, and
You have more than 2 now.
I'm absolutely surrounded now. I have close to 80,
You're
and
gonna
I
need
have
to expand the bar.
next summer. It's already in planning stage, dude. Next summer.
Nice.
But yeah, this has been absolutely incredible for me. Like I say, I didn't know a season existed, and my season ended in 2 days this year.
Jay, not Jay, but Jonathan, what do you think? I mean, you're relatively new to the bourbon community per your own references of what you said. How would you describe this? How would you describe the Whiskey Rebellion in your own words?
I mean, I think there's definitely some similarities between, what took place in, 1775,
91.
91. There you go.
Yeah.
Way off.
Well, no, 1775.
Jeff left that detail out, so I didn't catch it.
Years.
And to what we're doing.
Still hurts, damn it.
You need
No
to
more
get real
kings.
close.
Mel,
Like this.
No more
Mel, you
kings.
guys got your tea back.
Only if you had
Start singing.
a USA flag shirt on, that would make it so much better.
Start singing a Schoolhouse Rock preamble songs. No more kings.
Or the Bill song. Remember the Bill song?
I'm just a bill.
Hey,
Oh, he sounds just like the song too.
Can you do it with a sad face? Because he starts kind of like limped over.
He even looked like the guy.
I'm just a bill.
That's perfect.
Boom. Virtual DAP right
he
there.
did it.
All right. Anyway, back to Jonathan. We gotta get through this.
No, I mean, I think there's definitely some similarities. I mean, even the state of Tennessee has a lot of restrictions on us. We can't get, alcohol shipped to us, which I hate, just because I am a Maker's Mark fan, and they, because of their response to COVID was to start a program that allows them to ship, 2 bottles per quarter. And I was like, man, I'd like to participate in that. And I found out, was like, oh shit, I can't get it because I'm in Tennessee. So, I hate those
July of
types of
17, by the way, it's when that happened. By the
Yeah.
Congress, your state congressperson.
So I hate those types of restrictions, and so I definitely think there's some similarities in the rebellion back in 1791
Yeah.
and and what we do, but so I mean I have no problem with it. I've definitely benefited from it, enjoyed different expressions from different parts of the country, thanks to Jack Frost and shipping us some stuff from Colorado and getting to try Axe in the Oak, which was great. So I mean that's just kind of I don't have a lot. I try not to get too political and I don't involve myself in some of that. We could definitely go into a little bit more deeper conversation probably offline, but I mean, I'll just kind of leave it at that.
No, I think what you said is important, because like here in Tennessee, people were rushing out and they were standing in line and stuff for a smoke wagon. I have only bought one bottle ever in the wild in Tennessee for smoke wagon. It was what's the bottle I brought up your house? It was just a standard straight from the barrel, whatever it is, smoke wagon, the one with the little cross guns on it, and it's kind of it's like etched glass instead of having the badge on it. All right. That's the only one. Now I have 5 bottles, so I'll let you figure out how that happened. All right. I have this group has given us access to that, to different expressions. Having Rob, for example, in Ohio, that's state run, and having the opportunity to get Weller at state prices, which is MSRP. And then I will pay state prices, MSRP for any damn thing to have sent to my house and shipping. I'll pay the shipping. I have no qualms with that. Any given freaking day on the, you don't even have to call me like, hey, do you want this? Just send it to me. I mean, just make it happen. All right. I'm going to pay it any day. In Tennessee for the same thing. I was talking about this with Corey, to have antique here in Tennessee, you'd be lucky if you find it at MSRP ever, any place. Typically what I find is that it's probably around $100, give or take, for a bottle of antique. Rob sent me a bottle, 2 bottles, I believe, of antique for $45. I think was that including shipping, or maybe it's $50 including shipping? I don't know. It's somewhere around there, right? That's fantastic. That's what it's supposed to be. Now he hasn't come across Weller 12. I've had to pay the retail plus liquor store price for that, even with my networking.
Great Weller 12 story.
Oh, we got to hear that. Just go ahead and go right into it. Go straight into it. Marcus, tell us about your Weller 12 story.
All right. So I was in Florida, which is where I'm from, by the way. I'm new to Tennessee, so I've only been here for about a year. And I met Jody through our wives. So my wife met his wife, and then we did a Super Bowl party. That's when Jody came over, and we got to meet each other for the first time. I'm sorry, man. I didn't know. But anyway, we were down in Florida on vacation, and one of my good buddies said, "Hey, come over to this other friend's house. Bring a bottle pick, and we're just gonna hang out on his roof deck and watch the sunset and just chill." And so there's a few of us guys up there doing that. I didn't have a bottle with me. I was on vacation, so I went to a freaking Walmart liquor store in Walmart. They had Weller 12 on the shelf for $30.
I'd have bought the whole case. I'd have bought the whole liquor store.
I could not believe it. I mean, it's the normal crap that you would find in a.
So there's plenty of Jack Daniels, what you're telling me.
Yeah, there was.
Cody's moving.
And then I was just looking down the line, and I was like, Weller 12. There's no way that's. How do they have that here at Walmart? Anyway,
every one of my horse soldiers came from Walmart, actually, in Florida. every time I'm down there, I just purchase one while I'm down there. And I was down there last week and I didn't purchase one because I already have a bottle in my beach home down in Florida. And then I have all three expressions here. However, they do now have a I think it's called the Commander, and it retails at $5.99.
Mhm.
And supposedly it's a 20-year, I believe, something like that. I want to try it, but I don't know if I can. I mean, I don't know if I can feel. I mean, I don't know if I love it enough to pay $600 for a bottle of bourbon. Like Stag 2020, I didn't pay that much for it, but I probably would. It's that good. You know, Eagle Rare 17, definitely anything 18 and above, I will pay in excess of $600 for every time. Call me a tater. I don't give two craps. That stuff is fantastic.
So,
All right.
Joey, I got another way where this podcast fits in with the spirit of the original Whiskey Rebellion.
We'll go with it.
You study the history of the Whiskey Rebellion, you study what went on. They had a very hard time keeping that Whiskey Rebellion on point as well.
Mhm.
That would be me, is what you're pointing out there. So I appreciate that there, Mr. Hamilton.
Hamilton was a booty orifice.
I'm just saying, you just sounded like him just then. Like, let me tell you why we couldn't stay on point here, because they had a leader that was a jackass, and that's what it is. What I heard.
I was just gonna say, to bring up a couple of points that
You don't
we
want to hear
discussed.
anything from the English people.
I do.
He's like, I follow Megan Murphy.
Val, don't take that shit, man.
No, I'm
That's
not.
it.
I'm not. I'm just letting him run himself out. He'll go to sleep in a minute. Jay, I had a couple of Jefferson reserves, but obviously, it's the Groff Reserve Cask, California Cabernet Sauvignon, which is the Sauvignon finish, but the Jefferson as well. I don't know if you've ever tried that, Jay, but it is beautiful.
Not. I'm gonna have to get some.
Really, really nice. Really, really nice. And now I'm going to have some allegedly Paddy's Day Smoke Wagon is my last pour. And now I'm going to put myself on mute, shut up, and let Jody badmouth me for.
Oh, he didn't even finish it before he went on mute.
Similar to Jeff over there in Tennessee. I did bring another rye with me, and it is actually one of the original ryes from Western Pennsylvania.
Okay.
This is the old Overholt Bottled and Bond.
Who is that on the picture there? Who's that?
Abraham Overholt.
He looks almost as ornery as the guy that's on Leaper's Fork.
Yeah, he was. I was reading a little about him. He wasn't ornery. Some frugal.
Apparently, if you were around in the 1700s, you were ornery as hell all the time. Like, you just had a miserable life. Like in the picture of the one that's on Leaper's Fork. I don't remember which bottle it is, but it's one of the ryes. But anyway, he's on there, and he has his crutch with him in the picture. Like he got painted with his crutch.
You know why you were ornery at
Because he had a
that
crutch.
time?
Why?
A year. It took you a year and a half to build your house. You had to chop every tree, shave that thing down.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why they were ornery. Think about the toilet paper back then.
This is exactly what I'm saying. There are so many things that would make me so pissed off.
I fix me has a splinter.
Hey.
And when
Honestly,
you got done with your house, you had to sleep with your kids in the room. So it's like, how the hell did they have so many kids?
I've done a lot of reading into this guy and apparently the Wi-Fi was fucking terrible.
Do you know how hot it gets in Pennsylvania with no AC? This is just, yeah.
Well, I actually don't live very
Jack,
far.
there you go. The whiskey is not green.
Oh,
There you go.
We knew that. Jeff's
I know.
blue.
I was just
Very
making a
good.
point.
Oh my.
That was Jeff's Kylie Jack. That was Jeff's cowboy hat talking.
I had to get in touch with my West Pennsylvania brother, and
He's actually
Yeah.
live. I was gonna say that's streaming. It looked like he was frozen, but he wasn't. That was pretty good.
Oh my God.
Pay
So I
attention to the
do
man.
manage when I'm home to get to the Whiskey Rebellion Festival because Whiskey Rebellion took place about 35 minutes from where I live. So
Nice.
the
I think that would be a great field trip is for all of us to meet
Yeah, it would.
and up in Pennsylvania for the Whiskey Rebellion Festival. That
It
would-
is the
With our
Whiskey Rebellion
muskets.
Festival.
Are you
Our
near?
raccoon hats.
Are you near the Gaddis
there,
plantation or
Liberty
Gaddis
Hills
farm?
has some decent stuff.
Hey, Rob, Mark had a question for you. Marcus had a question for you.
Are you near
Yes.
the Gaddis plantation or farmstead or homestead?
I've heard the name, but do you have an idea where it is?
I don't know where it is. When I was doing some research after Jody told me what we were talking about this weekend, I found out
Point proven.
Thomas Gaddis was one of the leaders in the the conflict between the militia and Washington and so on. The admin for the organization I work with, her last name is Gaddis, and so I immediately wanted to find out if she had relatives there. But anyway, I don't know if you were close to that or not. Apparently, it's a historic site and go visit and all that kind of stuff.
I've not seen that one yet.
It's more to the east, more towards Jersey.
That's a good question. He's going to Google it real quick.
I am.
So I was going to say, where'd Jay go? Because he's moved around on my page. He's like moved all the way over here. He started over here.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, I want to go back to you again. So when you started this group, what would you say you had as your collection?
And my collection probably existed of a couple of bottles of Makers, a couple bottles of Woodford. I mean, all my Kentucky Derby bottles, Buffalo Trace, Blanton's, but I was paying what I know now secondary prices for that.
Peter.
That's and larceny, but that's basically it. I didn't branch out too much outside of that. Those are really my go-tos. Blanton's, I wouldn't have tried Blanton's if my wife's, doctor brother wouldn't have bought it for me. He came over one time to the house, drank all my bourbon, and then felt bad, and so he went to the liquor store and bought me a bottle of Blanton's, and I was like, "Oh, nice." So,
it has grown, is what I'm hearing. Since
yeah.
then.
Yeah. So with this group, I've been able to experience different expressions or learn about different profiles and really value the mash bills and the process and just the over craftsmanship that goes into the bourbon being produced. I'm a sucker for history and a story, so I love that about some of the bourbons. But I've definitely branched out, tried different things I wouldn't have tried. If you had asked me before this group, I would have said I'm not a rye guy. But then come to find out, some of the best drinks I had with traveling were made with rye whiskeys, and it's like maybe I am a rye person. So I've definitely branched out for sure.
I think that's a fascinating aspect of Fayetteville, right?
Fayetteville County, it's Uniontown.
County. Yeah, I just found it. So Fayette County is a little bit east of where that would be. We're in Washington County, but it's not far, like 100 miles, not even 100 miles, under 50 miles.
Geography. Oh.
Can we get
Jack,
back to
if you're going to
mechanics?
complain, if you're going to complain about geography, think of me, dude. That's all I'm saying.
1776.
No, nothing to do with that at all. That didn't alter geography, dude.
Yeah, I'd rather go back to history.
All right, so we're pushing the 5-minute marker before the show ends, the live show. We haven't really plugged anything, but I want to ask Corey, because he's been kind of silent, just listening, and I can appreciate that. But I want to ask Corey. We just met this week. What has been your impression by this the show, and then also, you know, the aspect of being part of this group and the VIP, and what you found and what you like about this?
Yeah. I mean, I would say for me, the biggest thing I think is just, you know, kind of getting to see multiple people's kind of viewpoints on different things, you know, whether that be flavor profile or just whether that be obviously their favorite or their go-to kind of bottles of, you know, various bourbons, etc. And I mean, I guess so far, my opinion of the group is just, you know, seems like a pretty, I guess, easygoing group of guys. Like to joke around a lot. And, you know, I guess this is, about the third or fourth day, I guess, maybe third day that I've been in the group chat. So I guess just still trying to kind of take everything in. Obviously, I don't know too many of the guys yet. Jody, you're the only person I've met thus far. But so far, I've enjoyed being here and, you know, certainly appreciate it.
Well, just wait till we get to the calf massages and rubbing Jay's mustache on the back of calf.
There is so much more for you to experience, dude. There really is.
Wait for it.
We'll get there.
I was gonna say I didn't want to get into all that
I knew it.
quick.
I knew he would do it.
Well,
Oh, stop. Wow.
That was salty.
Moist.
all right. So
In the world.
oh, Lord,
Who did
it's
that?
your first time.
A world of chaos.
All right. So
Moist. Oh, I was off center.
I'm glad I'm the shy one.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Jay's gonna be like, I'm gonna follow this page. I can't convert Jody to
Now-
Jack Daniels, and then also his crew is a bunch of jackassery. But anyway, Jeff, real quick, before we get to the end of this, is there anything we missed that you think that there was a significance of point? And I want to make sure I say this before I have to spout it off into the VIP chat, which if you're not following it, you need to be following the VIP chat.
Well, first we need the tagline or the trailer for the show. In a world of young whiskey, one man had a plan to tax it all.
Listen,
Moist.
I
George.
guess the biggest takeaways was there was a lot of nuance. It's like you had Hamilton and his group that was pushing the taxes. You had the farmers and the far west. Like I said, at the time, the Wild West of America was the western side of Pennsylvania, and then you had Pittsburgh stuck in the middle, and it's like they felt like they were going to be destroyed by either the farmers or by the federal troops coming in. And there was this group of people that tried to play the middle, and they actually ended up being the ones that suffered the greatest cause. They were the ones that ended up being the ones tried for treason and for all kinds of things, because they were basically trying to bring the two sides together and just keep Pittsburgh from being run and destroyed. But it all comes down to the main thing, that Alexander Hamilton is a booty orifice.
No, that's not how we're ending this show. That is not.
No booty.
Listen,
No booty warriors.
listen. Here's what you should take away from this. I've been trying to get this out for 30 minutes. Washington was the first president to pardon people. The very first presidential pardon. Do you know who he pardoned?
Finish him.
The two people that they were going to convict for this whiskey rebellion. So that's what you take away from this.
That is true. Absolutely true.
Thank
I
you,
need
Jay.
pardons. I need pardons.
Forgive.
Hey, real quick, wasn't a guy, Jay, this is kind of an offline question, but wasn't one of the members of the Nashville Bourbon Barrel, wasn't he pardoned by Trump?
Yes.
Yeah.
Robert Sherrill.
Yeah. And he's a successful entrepreneur.
Yes, he runs a cleaning service in downtown Nashville, quite successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finish.
Oh, I've seen him. I looked him
He
up.
has a bourbon collection that would blow every person's mind.
Would it rival mine?
Maybe I haven't seen yours, so it could be.
What the fuck is going on? Yo, what is going on?
It's better than sliced bread.
All right. So anyway, hey, so we can go ahead and just move to the shenanigans of the after show.
Didn't they
I'm
already
ready.
start?
Lord have mercy.
I don't know, but we're 1 minute past. People are like, what's going on? But anyway, guys, are always fun. And please be safe, drink responsibly. This is Jody with the Whiskey Rebellion. This is stupid.